Here in this ESPN article about Joel Embiid, and we are diving into all of it. If you haven't read it, don't worry, because we're going through all the sections. We started at the beginning from when Joel first came over, when he was first drafted by the Sixers, how the initial foot injury was handled. Sixers could have done a better job handling that. They assigned an intern to oversee his recovery. They didn't believe him when he said the foot wasn't healed. Turns out he was right. There's a lot in there. We also looked at some of the narratives about Joel being lazy, lacking the intangibles to win, that he makes excuses. He addressed all of it. But one of the big topics in this article, and there's been a big topic in this city for the last year and a half, is dating back to January of 2024. And if you remember what happened in January of 2024, it's when the Sixers played the Golden State Warriors. Joel Embiid was in the middle of one of the most magical seasons in NBA history, and that is not an exaggeration. He was averaging over 35 points a game in 34 minutes, outpacing Wilt Chamberlain's 1961-62 season. And he was on his way to becoming only the second player in NBA history to score more than a point a minute. He was unbelievable. He had scored 30 points in 22 consecutive games, the fifth longest 30-point streak in NBA history. He tallied 16 straight games with at least 30 points and 10 rebounds, tying Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the second longest streak of such. He was lights out. And then what happens? Guy falls on his leg. He hurts his knee. He needs surgery. Well, to Joel's credit, he comes back that year. Now, in hindsight, being 2020, maybe that was a mistake. Maybe it was a mistake for Joel Embiid to fight through the rehab to come back to play in the playoffs against the New York Knicks. And if you watch that series against the Knicks, even though Joel averaged over 30 points a game, he was playing on one leg. He had nothing. And if you remember, Nico Batum was on that team. Well, Nico Batum is quoted in this article. Listen to this. I was sitting next to Joel in the locker room. I saw his knee before every game and after every game. I have no idea how he could even walk. So this narrative that Joel is lazy and Joel Embiid doesn't care and Joel Embiid doesn't want to win, that's where I got to draw the line, because it's over-the-top BS, for lack of a better term. When you got a teammate talking about how I saw his knee, I don't even know how he could walk, and the guy fights back to play in a postseason series against the Knicks, basically on one leg, and averages over 30 points a game. Yes, could Joel Embiid have done things better in the beginning of his career? Of course. Could he go back and change things? I'm sure he would if he could. But how do you call the guy lazy? How do you say the guy doesn't care about winning when he battles back to come back for the playoffs to play on one damn leg and his teammates saying, I don't even know how he could walk?
Yeah, I don't know how you can say that injuries are an excuse. You know, as you're saying that, Bill, and I'm thinking about it, and I understand that he's a professional athlete. He's making an exorbitant amount of money. But imagine the insurmountable amount of pressure that he feels. He knows that he is the centerpiece of this basketball team. They go as he goes. He felt compelled to do whatever he had to do to go out there and make it happen. And even that, if that meant making his injury worse. Because, I mean, I don't know how you can perceive that any other way. That's somebody who obviously is committed to winning, committed to his teammates, and felt that he owed it to his teammates to be out there.
And Joel's quoted in here as saying, you're basically damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if you don't play, then you know there's the whole narrative about soft. But he does go on to say here, in those situations, you wish some of the people upstairs kind of had your back and were like, this is not okay, you're not playing. So a little bit of a shot at the Sixers organization, saying he wishes they would have stepped in and told him, no, do not play in this series. And clearly that didn't happen. Now, I don't know how I feel about that, because if Joel is saying he wants to play and the doctors are saying he's okay enough to come back and play, should they have shut him down? I don't know if I get on Joel Embiid's side on this one, that the Sixers should have stepped in and said no, because then what complicates things with that point by Joel is he plays in the Olympics. So if you wanted the organization to say, no, you shouldn't come back for the playoffs, but then you make the decision to play in the Olympics, I don't know how much that argument holds water.
Yeah, it's mixed signals. Mixed signals there, and that comes off a little bit like you're pointing fingers.
That does sound like that. And he got asked about the Olympics thing because that is a very polarizing discussion in the city, whether or not he should have played in the Olympics or not. So they dive into it. So the recruitment by Team USA, Grant Hill, started in the fall of 2022. Goes to Embiid's house and is trying to convince him to play for Team USA. October 5th of 2022, Joel Embiid calls Grant Hill and says, I'm in. I'm going to play for the United States. Grant Hill is quoted in this article as saying it was the best birthday present I ever got. So he decides he's going to play for Team USA. We know he wasn't 100% right. He got sick. We learned in this article he got sick during the opening ceremonies. If you remember, it was raining in Paris. Apparently he got really sick. But Grant Hill is quoted as saying, we don't beat Serbia without Joel Embiid. Us being patient with him had paid off. So the Team USA is not winning the gold medal, according to Grant Hill, without Joel. Was that selfish on Joel's part that he helped the country win a gold medal? If you feel that way, I disagree with you. They recruited him. They wanted him to play. They needed him. He goes and he does it. So he was asked about did it contribute to your knee injury? Is that the reason why you weren't healthy this season? This is the quote from the article. Embiid and his circle are quick to swat that notion away. This is from Joel. Compare that to the way I was moving against New York. No, it did not set me back. Article goes on to say his responsibilities in Paris were limited and his playing time was irregular. He says he wasn't 100%, but his knee and body felt good. His physical therapist, Kim Kaspari, is also quoted. He was okay to get his contract, and he was okay to win a gold medal. We were okay. So take that as you want to take it. But Joel's very clear on that wasn't what set me back. Now, I don't know how I feel about it because the last time we saw him was the Olympics.
Right.
Before training camp, and then he's not ready for training camp because the knee's not right. So did the Olympics contribute? He's saying no. His physical therapist is saying no. His camp is saying no.
Well, this is one of those things where you have to maybe trust what you see versus what you hear or read in this case because it didn't look like it was quite right. So I'm going to kind of push back on that one. But, again, I can't fault him for participating in the Olympics, right? He was recruited in the fall of 2022 by Grant Hill. I mean, if somebody recruits, what would you do in that situation? That's a no-brainer. You have that opportunity. You take that every time, but you also have to keep the team in mind as well. But, I'm sure at that point he didn't think it was going to be an issue. He didn't think there was going to be that big of a discrepancy in terms of his health.
So then he comes back this year. Things were never right from the beginning, and that's where we get to now because we've been spending a lot of time looking at the past. Well, what about the future now? What does this all mean for the 76ers in 2025, 2026? Well, after reading this article that we're going to get into where Joel Embiid addresses the knee and the timeline and the surgery, I don't feel very good. And I don't feel very good because it doesn't sound like Joel Embiid and the Sixers are anywhere near the same page on the timeline or the plan to get Joel Embiid back on the court.
What's up, everybody? It's Bill Colarulo from Unfiltered with Ricky Bo and Bill Colarulo. Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel because we post a ton of content. It's not just what you hear on air. We're posting content all day long. We do some things before the show, after the show, even stuff during the show. So subscribe, like, do whatever you got to do. We got all this content coming to you every single day.